I said this before. In my opinion, the African American community in America and other communities, other so-called minority communities like the Hispanic community, so-called the so-called Latino community, you need to forget about identifying as an American. America doesn't see you that way. That's a one-sided relationship. It's like you put on a jersey, you put on the jersey of some sports team, and you think that that makes you a part of the team. It doesn't. That doesn't make you a part of the team. Well, that's your so-called citizenship. That's what your citizenship is. It's just a jersey that you buy at the gift shop. It doesn't entitle you to play the game. You don't get to play on the field. You need to realize that not everyone in the world is as sick as the society that you are living in. You need to understand this. No, see, in that cult of a country that you live in, they tell you that it's no better anywhere else, when actually it's better almost everywhere else. Not everyone is as insane and as monstrous as your government. Not everyone is as predatory and as psychopathic and as human-hating as your elites. No, it's completely abnormal. And yes, there is international law. Your rights are being violated under international law in America every single day. Your whole life over there is abuse. Your whole life over there is psychological abuse, economic abuse, spiritual abuse, intellectual abuse. And you ought to be supporting the invocation of Article 6. You ought to be supporting that, to kick America out of the United Nations, so that the United Nations could actually finally be under the control of the rest of the planet, of the same people on the planet, instead of under the control of the United States. Then the United Nations, inshallah, could actually hold America accountable for all of its crimes all around the world, and its crimes against you. That's why I'm saying you need to start building communities that are autonomous outposts of the global South, just located in America. You understand what I'm saying? Consider yourselves as part of the global community. Act like it. Learn from them. Work with them. Think about your human rights and your civil rights in terms of the global standards and the global norms under international law, not under your so-called constitution that isn't even worth the paper it's printed on. It was written by people who didn't even believe a word that they wrote, and the people today who swear to uphold the Constitution, when they take office, they don't believe a word of it either. But there are people around the world, there are countries around the world who genuinely, sincerely believe in law, who believe in human rights, who believe in civil rights, who believe in justice. And you need to connect yourself with them. You need to align yourself with them. You need to identify with them, join them, collaborate and coordinate with them. If you're walking around here calling yourself an American, you look like someone on the deck of the Titanic, making fun of the people in the life rafts because their boats are so much smaller. You understand how ridiculous that is? While we're at it, you know how you Westerners, you always wail and whinge about immigrants, about foreigners coming into your countries. And now that it's a big thing in the election campaign, the presidential campaign, complaining about foreigners coming into your countries and some of them committing crimes inside your borders. So now you want to crack down on immigration, legal and illegal immigration. Okay, I understand that. We feel the same way. And there are no foreigners who come into our countries and commit crimes on a vastly larger scale than you. Your armies, your military bases, your multinational corporations, your banks. And we're tired of this invasion of aliens into our borders, disrupting our societies, stealing, cheating, vandalizing, corrupting, and raping and pillaging our resources. We're tired of that too. We know how you feel, times 10. So I think we need our own border walls, regulatory walls, walls of policy that restrict your ability to infiltrate our borders. And whoever's in our countries now, and stealing and exploiting and abusing our people and our resources, whatever company, whatever military, and whatever intelligence agency that may be, they need to be deported. Yes, you took our wealth, and then you don't want our people to come anywhere near where you took it, the place you took it to. You don't want the people to be reunited with their things. That's why you hate immigration from the global south. You don't want the people to be reunited with the wealth that you stole from them. And we know who you mean when you rant about immigration. You don't mean some flood of intra-Western immigration. You don't mean white immigration or European immigration. You mean people from the countries that you robbed. You don't want your victims anywhere near you. Well, okay, we don't want our victimizers anywhere near us. So you need to go back to your countries. And the first illegal aliens that need to be repatriated back to where they came from are the Zionists. Oh yes, you talk about illegal immigrants coming into your country and committing crimes. Meanwhile, you have been funding and facilitating the mass migration of illegal immigrants into our land, Palestine, and literally arming and training and colluding with them in their crimes, their war crimes, their crimes against humanity for decades. We're not talking about street crime. We're not talking about shoplifting. And then the rest of your criminal aliens in our lands have to go.
The great irony is, of course, that Donald Trump is the son of an immigrant, the grandson of an immigrant, and married to an immigrant. In fact, 2 of his 3 wives were immigrants, proving yet again that immigrants will do the jobs that even Americans are not willing to do.
Oh, what a mic drop that was.
So we understand that there is a mass deportation of immigrants, the so-called illegal immigrants, and ICE agents are out there ensuring this law and order is met in the latter. And are we against that? No, not really. We aren't against that because it is really important to have every citizen documented for safety purpose, right? For accountability. But one thing that is coming out clearly is that when these agents are going out, right, doing their business, they are looking for people looking like this, right? They're not looking for Australian immigrants, Australian illegal immigrants. They're not looking for Canadian illegal immigrants, right? Their minds are set to search and look for people looking like this. Why? Because naturally they believe that people looking like this are illegal to the land of America. And this is ironic because we understand that those people that don't look like this, they are not indigenous to the land of America. And it's happening that those who are suffering the most from this deportation policy are the indigenous people, right? The black people, the people of color. So I've compiled selected clips of Mehdi Hasan exposing their very hypocrisy. On us to watch, then we'll come back with a critical analysis and commentary of the same.
I mean, it's really important for us to remember our history. Unless you're one of the first Americans, a Native American, you came from someplace else. Somebody brought you. The Irish, who left behind a land of famine. The Germans, who fled persecution. The Scandinavians, who arrived eager to pioneer out west. The Polish, the Russians, the Italians, the Chinese, the Japanese, the West Indians, the huddled masses who came through Ellis Island on one coast and Angel Island on the other. All those folks, before they were us, they were them.
You figure from these footages that we've just seen, the mainstream media loves to frame the immigration debate as a standard two-sided argument where both perspectives have equal merit. But the framing is fundamentally dishonest because it completely ignores the structural racism and historical exploitation at the core of this country, at the core of America. Because when we watch people yelling, right, when we watch people debating concerning immigration, right, concerning who is a true American and who is not a true American, and really watching a legitimate debate, right? Because the reality is that the U.S. Was built on the stolen land of the indigenous people, right? It was also built on the stolen labor of the black people and the brown people, right? The people of color. Yet the descendants of the white settlers who enacted that systemic violence now have the audacity to keep citizenship, right? Having benefited from this racist system, having benefited from this system that rewards evil. So they lean on sanitized, romanticized myth of their own ancestors' arrival while weaponizing on aggressive, xenophobic double standards against modern immigrants of color who are fleeing the devastating fallout of Western imperialism and economic destabilizations abroad, right? The economic panic whipped around modern immigration is a calculated lie designed to protect the corporate power by turning vulnerable people of color into permanent scapegoats. Politicians and elite media figures deliberately tell struggling white working class communities that their problem, right, their major problem is the undocumented immigrants. That the reasons why they are struggling, right, the reasons why that they are unemployed, the reasons why that the food prices are high, the reasons why that we have insecurity in America is because of blacks, right, the people of color and the undocumented immigrants, right, who we know that majority of them are black. But this is a brilliant and cynical distraction because immigrants are not depressing the wages, right? Immigrants are not causing all these menace that we see in America. But the reality is that the exploitative corporations are depressing wages by deliberately keeping undocumented workers in a legal shadow economy where they can be underpaid and denied basic human rights without consequences. By starving these communities of legal protections and then blaming them for the systemic failures of predatory capitalism, the ruling class ensures that the white workers direct their rage downwards to the black and brown community, right? Instead of directing it upwards to the elites, right? To the billionaires who are actually robbing them on a broad daylight. So to truly understand the hypocrisy of this entire discourse, you have to look up the weaponization of selective historical amnesia. And what do we mean by that? The exact same arguments being thrown at black and brown immigrants today, that they are not friendly, right? That they are causing much trouble and crimes, and that they are destroying the American culture. These same blames, these same excuses were used against the Irish and Italian immigrants, right, a century ago. But those groups were eventually allowed to assimilate into the protective umbrella of the political whiteness, right? So today's immigrants of color are denied that transition because the system requires a permanent racialized underclass, right, to exploit. Ultimately, the aggressive rhetoric surrounding the nation of immigrants debate is a desperate attempt to maintain a white nationalist hierarchy in the face of shifting demographics. So demanding that people of color completely strip away their culture, their white culture, their language and their heritage to prove their patriotism is a form of an ongoing violence, right? So new arrivals often uphold the supposed ideals of community, mutual aid, and resilience far better than the institutions putting them on trial. The real story isn't about whether borders should be tighter. It's about exposing a deeply racist imperialist system that extracts wealth from the global south, relies on the backbreaking labor of people of color to run its domestic economy, and then uses xenophobia to keep the working class divided and conquered. So now we've come to the end of our commentary today. That was just my 2 cents concerning the whole thing of deportation of the so-called illegal immigrants. So I want to hear from you. What do you think about all this? Do you think that this is just a cover to what is happening in reality in America? Do you think that this is a cover by the elites and the billionaires, and that they are running away from being accountable of the menace that they are causing towards their very own citizens, the citizens that they are ruling over? So drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be responding to them in the next hour. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.